3 days felt like 3 hours. Day's chest still hurt from Voth's kick, but he ignored the pain. Every moment mattered now. Every second was precious. Yoon had somehow gotten a message to Kang in the engine sections. Kang sent back drawings and information about Vrakans. The creatures came from a harsh world of lava and rock. They had thick armor plating on their backs and heads, sharp claws that could slice through metal, jaws strong enough to crush bone, and they were fast despite their size. A hatchling is still twice the size of a human, Sora explained. She scratched marks on the floor with a piece of metal, showing the Vrakan's shape. About 12 feet long, 700 pounds. Natural armor covers most of the body. What are the weak spots? Hannah asked. The eyes. The joints between armor plates. The throat if you can reach it. And the belly, but you'd have to flip it over. How do we flip over 700 pounds? They asked. We don't, Yoon said. We use the arena against it. The fighting pit has walls, obstacles, maybe loose equipment. We use everything as a weapon. Who's fighting? Hannah asked. Yoon looked uncomfortable. La said you and Day. Change of plans, Sora said firmly. I'm going in instead of Day. He's still injured. No, Day said. Voth wants to see me die. If I don't show up, he'll know something is wrong. He'll be more careful. We need him confident and careless. Day, you're 12, and I'm going to fight. His voice was hard. Besides, being small might help. The Vrakan will focus on bigger threats first. They argued for an hour, but Day would not change his mind. Finally, Sora gave in. Fine, but we do this smart. We train, we practice, we plan every move. For the next 2 days, they prepared. The other prisoners created a space in the corner of the holding area. Yoon and Sora showed Day and Hana how to move as a team, how to communicate without words, how to dodge and strike and never stay still. Vrakans are predators, Yoon explained. They track movement. If you freeze, they might lose focus for a second. Use that second. They charge straight ahead, Sora added. They're powerful but not agile. Make them charge, then dodge. Tire them out. Persistence hunting, Hana said. Exactly. They practiced until their muscles ached. They planned strategies until they could execute them with their eyes closed. And slowly, a plan took shape. On the morning of the 3rd day, guards came for them. Yoon grabbed Day's shoulders. Remember everything. Work together. Stay alive. We will, they promised. The guards led them through the ship. Other prisoners in the corridors watched them pass. Some looked away. Others made gestures that might have been prayers or blessings. They reached the fighting pit area. Day could hear roaring crowds beyond the doors. The Scarith warriors were ready for their entertainment. A different guard appeared. He was older, with more scars. He looked at Day and Hana with something that might have been pity. I've seen many die in the pits, he said quietly. Die quickly if you can. Don't let it drag out. We're not planning to die, Hana said. The guard snorted. Everyone plans to live. The Vrakan doesn't care about plans. The doors opened. Sound crashed over them like a wave. Hundreds of Scarith warriors filled the stands around a large circular arena. They shouted and cheered. The smell of blood hung in the air. Day and Hana walked into the pit. Sand covered the floor. Old bloodstains darkened the ground in patches. Scattered around were broken pieces of equipment, rocks, and metal bars. The walls rose 20 feet high. No escape. Across the arena, a gate began to rise. The Vrakan appeared. It was bigger than Day expected. Massive. Its body was covered in black, armor plates that gleamed like volcanic glass. Red eyes glowed with hunger. When it opened its mouth, rows of sharp teeth glistened with saliva. It smelled them and roared. The sound shook Day's bones. The crowd went wild. They wanted blood. Commander Voss stood in a special viewing area. He raised his hand. The crowd went quiet. Little humans. His voice boomed across the arena. You warned me I made a mistake. Prove it. Show me your persistence. Show me why I should fear you. The Vraken charged. Everything Sora and Yoon taught them kicked in. Day and Hannah split apart, running in opposite directions. The Vraken went for Hannah because she was bigger. Its claws tore through the sand where she had been standing. Hannah grabbed a metal bar from the ground and swung it at the creature's head. The bar clanged off its armor and did nothing, but it made the Vraken angry. It turned toward her, jaws snapping. Day ran behind it. He grabbed a sharp piece of broken metal and stabbed at the joint between two armor plates on its back leg. The metal bit into flesh. The Vraken howled and spun around. Now it wanted Day. It charged again. Day ran toward the arena wall. At the last second, he dropped and rolled. The Vraken couldn't stop. It slammed into the wall. The impact stunned it for a moment. Hana was there. She jabbed the metal bar into its eye. The Vraken shrieked and thrashed. Blood poured down its face, but now it was truly enraged. It forgot about strategy or hunting. It just wanted to kill Dot. This was what they needed. For the next 10 minutes, Day and Hannah made the Vraken chase them. Back and forth across the arena. They never let it rest. They struck its weak points whenever they could. Small cuts. Small stabs. Nothing fatal, but everything adding up. The crowd's cheering changed. Some Scarith warriors started to notice what was happening. The humans were using tactics. They were working as a team. They were making the Vraken waste its energy. Persistence hunting. The Vraken started to slow down. Its charges became less powerful. Its movements less precise. Blood loss and exhaustion were taking their toll. Day saw the moment. He made eye contact with Hana. She nodded. They both ran toward a large rock in the arena. The Vraken followed, limping now. When it got close, they split apart again. The creature tried to turn, but it was too slow. Too tired. It stumbled over the rock. For just a second, its armored belly was exposed. Hana drove the metal bar up into the soft flesh with all her strength. The Vraken screamed. Day grabbed a sharp stone and did the same. Again and again they struck. The Vraken collapsed. It tried to get up, but couldn't. Blood pooled beneath it. The arena went silent. Day and Hannah stood over the dying creature. They were covered in its blood and their own. Cuts covered their arms and legs. They were exhausted, but they were alive. They turned to face Commander Voth. Day's voice rang clear across the silent arena. You wanted to see persistence. You wanted to see why you made a mistake. This is why. We don't have armor. We don't have claws. We don't have size. But we have something better. We never give up. We never stop. We turn every disadvantage into an advantage. And we win. Voth stood frozen. His yellow eyes were wide. Around him, the Scarith warriors stared in shock. 2 human children had just killed a Vraken, a creature that should have torn them apart in seconds. One warrior started clapping slowly, then another, then more. Within moments, the entire arena was applauding. Not because they wanted the humans to win, but because they had witnessed something incredible, something that defied their understanding. Voth's face twisted with anger. The humans weren't supposed to win. They were supposed to die screaming. They were supposed to prove they were weak. Instead, they proved they were dangerous. Get them out of here, Voth ordered. His voice was tight. Back to the holding area. Double the guards. As guards led them away, Day looked back at the commander one more time. Big mistake, he said quietly. But in the silence of the arena, everyone heard him. Back in the holding area, Yoon and Sora rushed forward. The other prisoners crowded around. They had heard what happened. Word was spreading through the ship. "You did it," Yoon said. He was smiling. "You actually did it." "We proved something," Hana said. She was shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. "We proved humans can fight back." "You did more than that," Sora said quietly. She looked around at the other prisoners. They were looking at Day and Hana differently now. With hope, with belief. "You proved we can win." That night, a message came from Kang through their hidden communication system. Just 3 words, ready to move. Yoon looked at Day and Hana. "The sabotage is in place. The explosives are ready. Our allies are prepared. But after what happened today, security will be tighter. We might need to wait." "No," Day said. "We move tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" "That's too soon. The Scarith are afraid right now. We saw it in the arena. They're questioning what they thought they knew about humans. That fear is our weapon." "Waffen?" "We use it before Voth recovers. Before they lock everything down." Sora thought about it. Then she nodded. "The boy's right. Strike while they're off balance." "Tomorrow then," Yoon agreed. "We take the ship." Day lay down to rest. His body hurt everywhere, but his mind was clear. Tomorrow they would find out if humans really were like honey badgers. Tomorrow they would prove that kicking their cage was the biggest mistake Commander Voth ever made. The honey badger wasn't just awake anymore, thought it was ready to bite back. The ship's artificial night cycle began. Most of the crew went to their quarters. Guards changed shifts. The holding area grew quiet except for the sound of prisoners sleeping. Day couldn't sleep. Neither could Hana. They sat with Yoon and Sora in the corner, speaking in whispers. "Kang will trigger the first explosion at 0300 hours," Yoon explained. "That's in 2 hours. It will blow out power conduits in 3 sections simultaneously. Not enough to damage the ship, but enough to cause confusion." "Then what?" Hana asked. "I've placed improvised explosives in the guard station and weapons locker. When the power goes out, the door locks will reset. We have maybe 20 seconds before backup power kicks in." "That's our window. What about the other prisoners?" They asked. Myra has been talking to the leaders of each group. The Pelians, the Thraxians, even the Korthan. They're ready to move when we give the signal. Not all of them trust us, but they all hate the Scarith. Sora pulled out a small piece of cloth. On it, she had drawn a map of the ship. "We split into 3 teams. Team 1, led by me, heads for engineering. We need to control the engines and life support. Team 2, led by Yoon, goes for the weapon systems. Team 3, led by Mira, secures the hangar base so the Scarith can't escape or call for reinforcements." "What about us?" Hana asked. "You 2 are going to the bridge." "The bridge?" Day stared at her. "That's where Voth will be." "Exactly. We need someone to distract him. Someone he'll focus on. Someone who makes him angry enough to lose his tactical thinking." "You want us to make him angry," Hana said slowly. "On purpose?" "You already make him angry just by existing," Yoon pointed out. "Especially after yesterday." "Use that." They thought about it. Going to the bridge meant facing Voth directly. But it also meant keeping the commander busy while the others took control of the ship. It made sense. "We'll do it," he said. "Good. You'll have help. Some of the freed prisoners will be with you. But Day, Hana, listen carefully." Sora's face was serious. "If things go wrong, if it looks like we're going to lose, you get to an escape pod. You get away. Understood?" "No," Day said simply. "Day, we don't leave people behind. That's not what humans do. We stick together or we don't do this at all. Sora looked at Yoon. He shrugged. The kid's stubborn. Fine, Sora sighed. But try not to die, okay? You two are too young for this. We're exactly the right age, Hana said. Young enough that they underestimate us. Old enough to know what we're fighting for. Time crawled forward. They watched the guards through the bars. They looked bored and tired. Good. Tired guards made mistakes. At 0245 hours, Yoon stood up. He walked casually toward the door. When a guard glanced at him, he pretended to stumble. The guard laughed and looked away. That brief moment was enough. Yoon placed a small device on the doorframe where it wouldn't be seen. Then he walked back. Done. He whispered. At 0255 hours, prisoners began to wake up. Quietly, carefully. They moved to their positions. The guards noticed nothing unusual. 300 hours came. Deep in the ship's engine room, Kang pressed a button he had hidden months ago. Explosions rocked 3 different sections. Not huge, not devastating, but perfectly placed. Lights went out. Emergency alarms screamed. In the darkness, Yoon's device on the doorframe activated. A small explosion blew the lock apart. The door swung open. Prisoners poured out into the corridors. Some ran toward the weapons locker that Yoon had sabotaged earlier. Others followed their designated leaders toward different sections of the ship. Scarith guards responded immediately. They grabbed weapons and charged toward the holding area. But the prisoners were ready. They had planned for this. They used the narrow corridors to their advantage, forcing the larger Scarith to fight in cramped spaces where their size became a disadvantage. They and Hana ran with a group of 10 prisoners toward the upper levels. A Thraxian warrior named Growl led them. He was huge and strong, but he had learned to respect humans after hearing about the arena fight. Stay behind me, small ones, Growl said. I'll break through their lines. You follow. They encountered the first group of Scarith guards at a corridor junction. 5 warriors with energy weapons. They opened fire. Growl raised a stolen shield and charged. The energy bolts bounced off the metal. Behind him, Day and Hana ran with the others. When they got close, they split apart. The humans went low while the larger prisoners went high. The Scarith weren't ready for coordinated tactics. They expected chaos and panic. Instead, they faced organized resistance. One guard aimed at Hana. Nay threw a piece of metal debris at his head. It struck his eye. The guard stumbled. A Pelian prisoner tackled him from the side. Within minutes, the guards were down. Take their weapons, Day ordered. He grabbed an energy rifle. It was too big for him, but he made it work. They moved forward. More guards appeared. More fights broke out. But the prisoners kept pushing forward. Across the ship, Sora's team reached engineering. Kang was waiting for them. Together they fought off the Scarith engineers and secured the room. Sora immediately began locking down systems, preventing the Scarith from venting sections or overloading reactors. I've got environmental controls, she called out. I can seal bulkheads anywhere on the ship. Do it, Kang said. Trap them in sections. Force them to fight on our terms. Yoon's team hit the weapon systems harder than expected. 20 Scarith warriors defended the armory. But Yoon had one advantage. He had been stealing from this room for months. He knew where everything was. He knew which weapons would work and which were broken. The plasma rifles in row 3 are disabled, he shouted to his team. Force them to grab those. The prisoners followed his strategy. They herded the Scarith toward the broken weapons. When the warriors tried to fire and nothing happened, the prisoners struck. Myra's team secured 2 of 3 hangar bays. The third was still in Scarith hands, but she posted guards to make sure no one could launch ships or call for help. "We're holding," she reported through stolen communicators. "But we've got casualties. We need medical supplies." "Working on it," Sora responded from engineering. "I'm opening the medical bay doors now." Day's group reached the upper levels. They were close to the bridge now. But so were more guards. And these weren't regular soldiers. These were Voth's personal warriors. Elite fighters. A massive Scarith appeared in front of them. He held 2 energy swords and roared a challenge. Growl stepped forward to meet him. The 2 titans clashed. The corridor shook with the force of their blows. "Go!" Growl shouted. "Get to the bridge." "I'll hold them here." They didn't want to leave him, but they had a mission. "Thank you, Growl." They ran past the fighting. Hannah stumbled over debris. They caught her. Together they kept moving. The bridge doors appeared ahead. They were massive and heavily armored. Normally, they would never get through, but Sora's voice crackled over the communicator. "I'm overriding the bridge door locks. You'll have 30 seconds before they can manually seal them again." "Ready? Ready?" they said. "Go!" The doors began to open. Day and Hannah ran forward. Behind them, 4 other prisoners followed. They burst onto the bridge. 15 Scarith warriors spun around in shock. At the center stood Commander Voth. His yellow eyes widened when he saw Day and Hannah. "You," he growled. "How are you here? How did you escape?" Day raised the energy rifle. It was too heavy for him to hold steady, but he aimed it at Voth anyway. "You made a mistake, Commander. We warned you, but you didn't listen. You thought humans were weak. You thought we were prey. You kicked our cage." Voth's face twisted with rage. "You're children. You're nothing. You were honey badgers," Hannah interrupted. She aimed her weapon too. "And honey badgers don't care about size. They don't care about armor. They don't care about anything except winning." Voth roared and charged. The battle for the bridge began. The prisoners spread out, engaging the Scarith warriors. Energy bolts flew across the bridge. Day and Hannah dove behind a control console. "This is insane," Hannah said. She was smiling despite the danger. "This is absolutely insane." "I know," Day agreed. He popped up and fired at a Scarith warrior. The bolt hit the warrior's shoulder. Not a kill shot, but enough to make him take cover. But it's working. Voth fought like a demon. He was faster and stronger than his warriors. He cut down 2 prisoners in seconds. Then he came for Day. The commander's claws reached for the boy. Day rolled away. Voth's claws struck the metal floor, leaving deep gouges. "You think you can defeat me?" Voth roared. "I am Voth the Destroyer. I have conquered 17 worlds. What are you?" "A child playing soldier." Day stood up. He looked small standing before the massive alien commander. But his voice was steady. "I'm a human, and humans don't play." Hannah appeared behind Voth. She had grabbed a metal bar from the floor. She swung it at the back of his knee. The joint buckled. Voth dropped to one knee. Now Day was at eye level with him. "You asked me at the station what we could do to you. I said nothing. And that was true. Back then, we could do nothing. But now?" Day's eyes were hard. "Now you're going to find out what happens when you push humans too far." The bridge doors opened again. Yoon burst in with reinforcements. Then Sora with her team. More prisoners flooded onto the bridge. The Scarith warriors were surrounded. One by one, they surrendered. Only Voth remained standing. Or rather, kneeling. "This is impossible," he whispered. "You're just humans. Just weak, fragile humans." "No," they said. "We're survivors." The bridge was quiet, except for heavy breathing and the hum of ship systems. Commander Voth knelt on the floor, surrounded by freed prisoners. His warriors stood with their hands raised in surrender. The great destroyer had been defeated, Day lowered his rifle. His arms shook from exhaustion. Next to him, Hana leaned against the console. Blood dripped from a cut on her forehead, but she was alive. They were all alive. Yoon checked the bridge controls. We have full control of the ship. All major systems are ours. Sora's voice came through the communicator. Engineering secured. Life support stable. We've locked down all remaining Scarith forces in sections 7 through 12. They're trapped, but safe. Weapon systems offline, Myra reported. No one can fire anything without our permission. Hangar bays secured, Kang added. No ships launched. No distress signals sent. They looked at Commander Voth. The massive alien commander stared back with hatred and confusion. How? Voth asked. His voice was barely a whisper. How did you do this? You're a prey species. You're weak. We're not weak, Hana said. We're different. And you couldn't understand the difference. Sora entered the bridge with more prisoners behind her. She looked around at the captured Scarith warriors. Then she turned to Day. What do we do with them? It was a fair question. The prisoners looked to Day for an answer. Somehow, the 12-year-old boy had become a leader. Maybe because he warned them from the start. Maybe because he never gave up. Maybe because he understood something the others were still learning. Day walked closer to Voth. The commander tensed, expecting violence. You have a choice, Day said. You and all your warriors. We could kill you. After everything you've done, after all the people you've enslaved and murdered, no one would blame us. We could lock you in the airlocks and vent you into space. Voth said nothing. He just waited. But we're not going to do that, Day continued. Because we're not like you. We don't conquer. We don't enslave. We survive. We adapt. And we build. What are you saying, boy? I'm saying you have two options. Option 1. You take escape pods. You leave this ship. You go back to your people and tell them what happened here. Tell them that humans are dangerous. Tell them that enslaving us is a fatal mistake. Tell them the honey badger is awake. And option 2? Voth asked carefully. Option 2 is you stay. You work with us. You help us free other prisoners across this sector. You use your strength not to conquer, but to protect. You become better than what you were. The bridge fell silent. Prisoners stared at Day in shock. Even Yoon and Sora looked surprised. You're offering us mercy? Voth seemed genuinely confused. After everything? I'm offering you a choice, Day corrected. Something you never gave us. Something you never gave any of your prisoners. I'm offering you the chance to be more than a destroyer. The question is, can you be? Voth looked around at his warriors. They watched him, waiting for his decision. The great commander had been defeated by children, by prey, by species he considered beneath him. His pride was destroyed, his reputation ruined. But maybe, they thought, that's what needed to happen. Maybe Voth needed to lose everything before he could become something better. I choose the pods, Voth said finally. I cannot serve humans. I cannot work with former slaves. My pride. I cannot. I understand, Day said. He felt disappointed but not surprised. What about the rest of you? He looked at the Scarith warriors. Most of them looked down. They would follow Voth, but 3 of them stepped forward. I will stay, one said. He was younger than the others. I have seen what humans can do. I have seen their courage. If you will have me, I will learn from you. 2 others joined him. We stay too. Voth glared at them. Traitors. No, the young warrior said. I am not betraying the Scarith. I am trying to save them. If I go back and tell them what happened, they will not believe me. They will say I'm weak. But if I stay, if I learn, maybe I can teach others. Maybe I can prevent more mistakes. They nodded with respect. What's your name? Crawl. Welcome to the crew, Crawl. Over the next hour, they organized everything. The Scarith who chose to leave were escorted to escape pods. Voth was the last to go. Before he entered his pod, he turned to Day one final time. I underestimated you, Voth admitted. I thought humans were weak because you're small. I thought you were prey because you have no claws. I was wrong. Yes, they said. You were, but others will make the same mistake. There are thousands of species in this galaxy. Many of them are stronger than humans. Many of them will see you as I did. Then we'll teach them the same lesson we taught you. Voth's expression was unreadable. Perhaps you will. Or perhaps they will learn from my mistake and destroy you before you can fight back. Maybe, they acknowledged. But they'll have to catch us first. And humans are very good at running long distances. We're persistence predators, remember? We never stop. Voth entered his pod. The door sealed. Within moments, the pod launched into space. They watched it disappear among the stars. Sora joined him at the viewport. Do you think he'll warn others about us? Yes, and that's good. Good? Why? Because now the galaxy knows. Humans aren't easy prey. We're not harmless. We're survivors. We're fighters. We're honey badgers. And maybe, just maybe, that reputation will save lives. Maybe slavers will think twice before attacking human ships. Maybe warlords will hesitate before invading human colonies. Or maybe they'll come after us harder, Hannah said. She had joined them too. Maybe we just painted a target on humanity. We were always targets, Yoon pointed out. At least now we're targets that fight back. Kang's voice came through the communicator. Hey, we should probably talk about what we're doing with this ship. We can't just keep flying around forever. Day smiled. Actually, I have an idea about that. They gathered in the bridge. All 6 humans stood together. Crawl and his 2 Scarith companions watched from the side. Other prisoners crowded around the doorway. This ship is called the Bloodied Claw, they said. A name meant to inspire fear. To remind everyone of death and conquest. I think we should change it. What should we call it? Myra asked. The Unbroken, Hannah suggested. Because no matter what they did to us, we didn't break. Everyone nodded. It was a good name. As for what we do with the ship, they continued. I say we use it exactly as Commander Voth did. But for the opposite purpose. He used this warship to conquer and enslave. We'll use it to free people. A liberation fleet, Sora said. Her eyes lit up. We hunt slavers. We free prisoners. We hit slave markets and auction stations. Exactly. And we recruit. Every freed prisoner who wants to join us can stay. Every species that wants to fight against slavery can crew this ship. We'll become something new. Not conquerors. Not soldiers. But protectors. The galaxy won't like it, Yoon warned. Slavery is legal in many systems. We'll make powerful enemies. Good, they said. Let them be enemies. Let them learn what happens when they kick the honey badger's cage. Myra stepped forward. I'm in. I'm tired of running and hiding. Time to fight back. Me too, Kong said. One by one, everyone agreed. Even Crawl bowed his head. I will serve on this ship. I will help free others. And I will tell my people what I have learned about humans. Over the next few days, they organized everything. They cleaned the ship. They freed all the remaining prisoners and offered them passage to safe ports or positions on the crew. Many stayed. The Unbroken became a ship of many species, all united by one goal. Freedom. SOR taught everyone how to operate the ship systems. Yoon trained them in weapons and tactics. Mira organized the crew. Tong kept the engines running. Hannah became the tactical officer. And Day, the young boy who started with nothing but a warning, became the voice of the ship. They sent a message on all frequencies. It broadcast across multiple sectors. Every slaver, every warlord, every person who profited from suffering heard it. Day's face appeared on screens across the galaxy. Behind him stood his crew, humans and aliens, former slaves and warriors, all of them looking determined. My name is Day. I'm from Earth. 3 months ago, pirates captured me and my sister. We were sold as slaves. We were caged, beaten, and thrown into fighting pits for entertainment. Our captors thought we were weak. They thought humans were prey species. They thought wrong. The camera pulled back to show the bridge of the Unbroken. This ship was once called the Bloodied Claw. It was used by Commander Voth to conquer and enslave. Now it's called the Unbroken, and we use it to free people. If you're a slaver, if you trade in sentient beings, if you profit from suffering, hear this warning. We're coming. We're humanity. We're persistence predators from a death world. We don't give up. We don't back down. We're like the honey badger of Earth. We look small. We look harmless. But we're some of the most dangerous creatures in existence when you threaten us. Day's expression hardened. Commander Voth thought enslaving humans was a good idea. He kicked our cage. He hurt us. He tried to break us. That was his mistake. His big mistake. And he learned what happens when you underestimate humanity. Now others will learn too. The message ended with a simple statement. We are the Unbroken. We do not forgive. We do not forget. And we never, ever give up. You've been warned. Across the galaxy, that message spread. Some species laughed. Some dismissed it. But others, the smart ones, remembered what happened to Commander Voth. The metal bars felt cold against Day's hands. He stood in the holding pen and watched everything around him. The 12-year-old boy had learned to stay quiet and observe. 3 months ago, pirates attacked his family's colony ship. They took him and many others. Now he waited in a cage on trading station. KHY Ra-9 dot around him. Dozens of different alien creatures filled other pens. Some cried. Some screamed. Some had given up and sat in silence. They did none of these things. He watched the guards. He counted their steps. He memorized their patterns. His dark eyes missed nothing. The station smelled like oil and something rotten. Strange creatures walked past his cage every day. They spoke in languages he could not understand. But Day understood enough. This was a slave market. He was for sale. In the pen next to him, his sister Hannah pressed her face against the bars. She was 16 and had always been the brave one. Even now she refused to show fear. Day, she whispered. I counted the guards. They change shifts every 6 hours. The third guard on the left has a broken scanner on his belt. Day nodded. Hannah was always thinking, always planning. It made him feel less alone. A loud noise echoed through the station. Heavy footsteps approached. The other prisoners went silent. Even the guards straightened up and looked nervous. Commander Voth entered the holding area. He was massive. His reptilian body stood nearly 8 feet tall. Green scales covered his skin. His eyes were yellow and cold. Sharp claws clicked on the metal floor with each step. Behind him walked 6 more of his kind, all warriors from the Scarith species. They wore armor covered in scratches and dents from many battles. Voth's reputation traveled across many star systems. He had conquered 17 worlds. His mercenary fleet destroyed anyone who stood against him. Some called him Voth, the Destroyer. Others simply called him Death. The alien merchant rushed forward. He was a thin creature with too many arms and a nervous voice. Commander Voth. Welcome. Welcome. I have many fine specimens today. Perhaps you would like to see the Thraxian warriors? Very strong. Or the Pelian scholars? Very intelligent. Voth ignored him. His yellow eyes scanned the pens. They stopped on the human section. He walked closer to Day's cage. The boy stood still and met his gaze. Day's face showed no fear. This seemed to amuse the commander. What is this tiny thing? Voth asked. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. Ah, humans! Yes, from Earth. A newly discovered species. Very rare, very exotic. They make excellent servants because they look weak, Voth interrupted. He leaned down to study Day more closely. Small, fragile, no claws, no armor, no natural weapons at all. Yes, but they are clever. And I'll take these two. Voth pointed at Day and Hana. My crew needs entertainment. These will be amusing to watch. The merchant's face twitched. Several of his arms moved nervously. Commander, perhaps I should mention something. The human young ones, they are. What? Dangerous? Voth laughed. The sound was cruel. His soldiers laughed with him. Look at them. They are like small animals, harmless. No, of course not dangerous. But they are different. Their species has certain qualities. Perhaps you might prefer, I have decided. Voth's voice became sharp. Process the transaction. The merchant's shoulders sagged. As you wish, Commander. Guards opened the cages. They pulled Day and Hana out and pushed them toward a transport container. The metal box was barely large enough for both of them. Through the bars, they could see Voth talking with the merchant and exchanging payment. Hana grabbed Day's hand. Stay strong, she whispered. We'll find a way. Day nodded. But his eyes stayed on Voth. The merchant tried one more time. Commander, if I may say something. Humans are from what they call a death world. Their planet is harsh. They evolved as enough. Voth turned away. I do not care about their planet. They are weak creatures. That is all I need to know. The guards loaded the transport container onto an anti-gravity cart. As they started to wheel it away, Day spoke for the first time. Big mistake. His voice was quiet but clear. Everyone nearby stopped and looked at him. Voth turned around slowly. What did you say, little creature? Day looked directly at the massive alien commander. His young face remained calm. Big mistake. Voth's eyes narrowed. He walked back to the transport container. Without warning, he kicked it hard. The metal box skidded across the floor with Day and Hana inside. They crashed against the far wall. The impact made Day's head ring. He tasted blood in his mouth. The container stopped moving. Day pulled himself up. Blood dripped from his nose. He wiped it away with his hand. Then he looked at Voth again and smiled. You'll learn your place, Voth growled. You'll learn what happens to slaves who speak to me. Big mistake, Day repeated. His voice stayed steady. Voth stared at him. For a moment, something flickered in the commander's yellow eyes. Confusion? Curiosity? Then it was gone. He turned and walked away. Load them on my ship, he ordered. Put them in the lower decks with the other prisoners. The guards obeyed. They pushed the transport container toward the docking bay. Through the bars, they watched the station disappear behind them. Hana touched his shoulder. Your nose is bleeding badly. I'm okay. Why did you say that? Why did you make him angry? Day looked at his sister. His eyes were older than they should be. 3 months of captivity had changed him. Because it's true. He made a big mistake. What do you mean? Humans don't give up, Hana. Mom always said that. She said our ancestors survived ice ages and predators and diseases. They climbed to the top of the food chain on Earth, not because they were the biggest or the strongest. but because they never gave up. Hannah was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled too. The honey badger. What? Mom showed us videos, remember? That small earth animal. Predators 10 times its size left it alone. Because it never backed down. It never ran away. People said the honey badger didn't care about danger. It just fought until it won. They nodded slowly. Commander Voth thinks we're weak. He thinks we're helpless. He kicked our cage. And that was his mistake. His big mistake. The transport container moved through the docking tunnel. Ahead of them, Voth's warship waited. The massive vessel was called the Bloodied Claw. It looked like death itself, floating in the darkness of space. They felt his sister's hand squeeze his. They were going into danger. They were going onto a ship full of alien warriors who thought humans were nothing but toys. But Day felt something burning inside him. Not just fear, something else. Something harder. Hope. The guards loaded their container onto the ship. The heavy doors closed behind them with a sound like thunder. The last light from the station disappeared. In the darkness. They spoke one more time. He kicked the honey badger's cage. Hannah understood. They both did. Voth had no idea what he had just done. He had no idea what humans could become when pushed too far. The ship's engines roared to life. They were moving now. Moving away from the station. Moving into the unknown. But Day wasn't afraid anymore. He was ready. They all would be ready. Every human on this ship would soon understand what they had to do. Survive. Adapt. Fight back. And never, ever give up. The lower decks of the Bloodied Claw smelled like sweat and fear. Dim lights flickered overhead. The walls were stained with things Day did not want to think about. Guards dragged him and Hannah through narrow corridors. Their boots echoed on metal floors. They reached a large holding area. Inside, dozens of prisoners huddled together. Different species from across the galaxy. All of them wore the same look of defeat. The guards threw Day and Hannah inside and locked the heavy door. Day stumbled, but caught himself. He looked around. In the corner, he saw something that made his heart jump. Two humans sat together. Real humans. The first he had seen since his capture besides Hannah. A young man stood up and walked over. He was thin, with hollow eyes and scars on his arms. But he moved with purpose. New arrivals, the young man said. You're human. I'm Yoon. Been here 8 months. I'm Day. This is my sister Hannah. A woman joined them. She was older, maybe 30. Her hands were calloused and strong. I'm Sora. I was a combat engineer before they took me. She looked at how young Day and Hannah were. Her face softened. You're just kids. We're survivors, Hannah said firmly. Sora nodded with respect. Good. You'll need that attitude here. Yoon gestured to the other prisoners. There are about 200 beings on this deck. Most are slaves from conquered worlds. Voth uses some of us for labor. Others. He paused. Others he uses for entertainment. Entertainment? They asked. Fighting pits, Sora explained. Her voice was hard. The Scarith warriors like to watch prisoners fight each other. Or fight creatures they bring aboard. They bet on who will die first. Day felt cold. But he kept his face calm. How many humans are on this ship? 6, counting you two, Yoon said. There's Kang in the engine room section. And Mira in the upper slave quarters. We've been trying to make contact, to coordinate. Coordinate what? Hannah asked Yoon, and Sora looked at each other. Then Sora spoke quietly. An escape. Escape. They looked around at the locked doors and armed guards. How? Not escape, Yoon corrected. Something better. We're going to take the ship. They stared at him. Take the ship? 6 humans against 3,000 Scarith warriors? It sounded impossible. But then he remembered the honey badger. Impossible was just a word. Tell us everything, Hana said. They sat together in the corner. Yoon explained in a low voice. The Scarith are strong. Much stronger than us. They're from a high-gravity world. Their muscles are denser. Their bones are harder. One of them could break a human in half. But, Sora added, they're also predictable. They rely on strength and fear. They don't think small. They don't adapt well to unexpected situations. We've been watching them for months, Yoon continued, learning their patterns, their weaknesses. Sora has been mapping the ship's systems. I've been gathering materials from the maintenance bays. Small amounts of chemicals, wire, components. For what? They asked. Improvised weapons, explosives. Nothing big enough to breach the hull, but enough to create chaos. And Kang? Hannah asked. Kang works in the engine rooms. The Scarith think he's too stupid to cause trouble. But he's brilliant. He's been sabotaging systems. Little things. Things they won't notice until we want them to. What about Myra? Sora smiled slightly. Myra is our diplomat. She's been talking to other prisoners. Building trust. Not just humans. Other species too. If we're gonna take this ship, we need allies. They felt something stirring inside him. Hope. Real hope. What's the plan? We're still building it, Yoon admitted. We needed more people. More eyes. More hands. And then you two arrived. What can we do? Hannah asked eagerly. You're young, Sora said. The guards won't watch you as carefully. You can move through areas we can't. You can carry messages. Gather information. We can do that, they said. For the next few hours, they talked. Yoon and Sora explained everything they had learned about the ship. The guard rotations. The power systems. The weapons storage. The bridge layout. Hana memorized it all with her sharp mind. They absorbed every detail. Then the door opened. A Scarith guard entered. He was smaller than Voth, but still massive compared to the humans. You too, he pointed at Day and Hana. The commander wants to see you. Yoon grabbed Day's arm. Stay calm. Don't provoke them. I'll try, Day said. The guard led them through the ship. Up elevators and through corridors that got cleaner and better lit. They were moving toward the command sections. Finally, they reached a large chamber. Commander Voth stood in the center. Around him, a dozen Scarith warriors watched. They were laughing and drinking something that smelled awful. Ah, the little human who speaks, Voth said. Come here. Day and Hannah walked forward. They stood before the massive commander. He looked down at them like they were insects. I've been thinking about what you said at the station. Big mistake. Those were your words, yes? Yes, they said. Explain to me, little creature. How is buying you a mistake? You are weak. You are small. You have no claws, no fangs, no armor. What can you possibly do to me? Day met his eyes. Nothing. Right now, I can do nothing. Then why warn me? Because you don't understand what humans are. You see our size and think we're prey. But we're not prey. We're persistent predators. The Scarith warriors laughed. Voth held up a clawed hand, and they went quiet. Persistence predators? Voth seemed amused. Explain. On Earth, humans hunted animals much bigger and stronger than them. We couldn't outrun them. We couldn't overpower them. But we followed them. For hours. For days. We never gave up. We tracked them until they collapsed from exhaustion. Then we killed them. You chase prey until it dies of tiredness. One of the warriors laughed. What a pathetic way to hunt. But it works, they said. It always works. Because humans never stop. We never quit. You can beat us. You can cage us. You can kick us around. But we'll keep coming. We'll adapt. We'll learn. And eventually, we'll win." Voth's amusement faded. He leaned down until his face was close to Day's. His breath smelled like dead meat. "You think you're dangerous? You think I should fear a child?" "No," Day said honestly. "I don't think you should fear me. I think you should fear what humans become when you push us too far." Voth stared at him. The room was silent. Then the commander stood up straight and laughed. But it sounded forced. Brave words from a slave. "Let's see how brave you are in 3 days. I'm putting you in the fighting pits. You and your sister. Against a Vraakin hatchling." The Scarith warriors cheered. Hannah's hand found Day's and squeezed tight. "A Vraakin will tear them apart in seconds," one warrior shouted. "Then it will be a short show," Voth said. He looked at Day. "Unless your persistence saves you." "It will," Day said quietly. Voth's smile disappeared. He walked forward and kicked Day hard in the chest. The boy flew backward and hit the wall. Pain exploded through his body. He couldn't breathe. Hannah ran to him. The guards grabbed her arms and held her back. Day slowly pushed himself up. His chest hurt terribly, but he looked at Voth and smiled through the pain. "Big mistake," he whispered. Voth's single quotes, his yellow eyes narrowed. "Get them out of here." The guards dragged them back to the holding area. Yoon and Sora rushed over when they saw Day's condition. "What happened?" Sora asked. "Fighting pits," Hannah said. Her voice shook. "In 3 days. Against a Vraakin." Yoon's face went pale. "A Vraakin? Those things are killing machines." "Then we'll have to be smarter," they said. He winced with pain but forced himself to sit up. "Tell me everything about Vraakins. Tell me their weaknesses." "Day, you're hurt. Tell me." "We have 3 days to prepare. 3 days to prove that Commander Voth made a big mistake." Sora looked at his determined face. Then she nodded. "All right. Let's get to work." They gathered close together. And while the ship flew through space, while the Scarith celebrated their coming entertainment, 6 humans began to plan. The honey badger was waking up.